All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
Former Pro Bowl receiver T.J. Houshmandzadeh is back. Time for a big story. Let's return to the NFL, where former Packers wide receiver Jordy Nelson is calling criticism of Aaron Rodgers comical. Nelson took aim at other former Packers, including friend of the show, Greg Jennings, saying that, quote, negativity sells. Nelson says that most of the positive things said about Rodgers, including him being a good leader, is ignored because some of his former teammates want to get attention for themselves by bad-mouthing Rodgers. I don't agree with this defense of Aaron Rodgers by Jordy Nelson. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is celebrated throughout the NFL.
Yes.
There's far more praise of Aaron Rodgers than there is this little bit of criticism from a handful of his former teammates. So if we were weighing a scale between Aaron Rodgers getting praised and criticized, it leans heavily on praise. And so three guys have had the courage to come out and say what they think about Aaron Rodgers in a little bit more detail. This isn't because negativity sells. It's just two or three guys have had the courage to say what they really think.
Yeah, he actually said what he knows will sell, which is negativity sells. And I'm just going to sit here and say none of it is negative about Aaron Rodgers, which has to be a lie because no player is perfect. And if you want to add it up in totality, more people are for Aaron Rodgers than the exceptions that we're talking about. But let's talk about those exceptions because the narrative is, as a former player, all you guys want to do is protect the fraternity and say glowing things about each other. I remember when I first started working in this industry, everyone was scared, like, will you really go there if you need to? Will you ever just tell the truth about the underbelly of the game and some of the dark places that you've been with some of your players? I'm like, I'm just going to speak my truth. I'm never going to call somebody out. And even when you're going through that process of actually calling someone out, as a former player, you're making sure you're saying all the right things and saying exactly how it went down because you know that you're trying to pay respect to someone who's still great in other lights. So for Jordy Nelson to come out here and try to extinguish everyone, especially KGB, because I've known KGB since he was in high school. This guy has great character, went to Crenshaw High School, lives in Green Bay. I mean, just it says enough. Family man, like he is out.
Greg Jennings, same thing you can say.
Yeah,
same thing about Greg.
Living in Minnesota, these guys are not in Hollywood trying to capitalize on Aaron Rodgers or saying salacious stuff about former players. So which way is it? Is it, they're trying to sell negativity? I thought all players just want to say glowing things about each other. I think these exceptions actually had bad experiences with Aaron Rodgers. They're just telling their truth.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers, they speak the same language. They see the game the same way, so they got along. So Jordy Nelson is like, why don't everybody see the Aaron Rodgers that I see? Because we view things differently. Their conversations are different than the conversations he had with Aaron Rodgers.
I disagree. I think that Jordy Nelson probably knows there's some problems with Aaron Rodgers. He's just saying you don't have to talk about them.
But if you ask him in Jermichael Finley, it's when a former player criticizes a quarter, it's like what Marcellus, like, you're not supposed to do that. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you the honest answer. And for Jordy Nelson, I don't think he saw Aaron Rodgers as that guy. Because if Aaron Rodgers is getting on you or he's not a leader as you see fit, to Jordy Nelson, it's like, what he's saying is right. I have no problem with it. Whereas somebody else, the conversations he could have had with Greg Jennings or things that rub Greg wrong, Greg looked at it as he's not being a leader. This could be the same with Jermichael Finley. He probably had those same conversations with Jordy Nelson, and Jordy Nelson didn't take offense to him because him and Aaron Rodgers have a different relationship.
But let me clarify, and I don't want to speak for Greg, but, look, Greg emotes positive energy.
Yeah.
Greg could come on this show and do an hour about what great shape I'm in and then say, but he could stand to lose a few pounds.
The last 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's Greg's nature.
Yeah.
And so he's a lot like what Marcellus described about KGB. This guy looks for and says a lot of positive things about Aaron Rodgers. He just also says a more complete story of Aaron Rodgers is like there are some issues. He is aloof. He is maybe not the greatest leader. I think Jordy Nelson sees the same things, but just says, you know what, you shouldn't talk about it.
Exactly. Greg
So he's
Genius
willing to overlook it and just say, I'm going to sweep it under the rug. I don't want to talk negatively about.
He doesn't want to talk in completion, and we know being in the fraternity that sometimes, like co-workers, anybody, do you always want to talk in being transparent in completion of the entire story? I played with 6 future Hall of Famers and present Hall of Famers, and their highs are already known. Their lows, some are known and some are not known. Now, are you going to be that population that has been silent for so long, the hundreds of teammates that Aaron Rodgers has had that has not said a word, good or bad? We don't know what they're thinking. So, Jordy Nelson, how dare you try to extinguish the 3 that have come out and said something that's more of a completion of his personality, not just the good stuff.
I'm going to set us up for our next segment by saying this. I'm going to analogize Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James. There's so much positive to their talents and their abilities and blah, blah, blah. But I think what Greg and others are responding to is like everybody every year says, oh, Aaron Rodgers ain't got no help. He can't win. He does everything he can. And all of his teammates, this, that, and another. And then someone says, well, you know what? He got some shortcomings too.
Yeah.
Same thing with LeBron James. Anytime they don't win, it's everybody else's fault. Yep. And then if someone says, well, you know what? LeBron's not the best leader, or he could improve here or there, now all of a sudden you're looking for the negative. No, you're just responding to someone like Aaron Rodgers or LeBron that just get overwhelmed with praise. And then a guy like KGB or Greg Jennings say, well, you know, there is a full story.
Yeah.
Paul Harvey. Now for the rest of the story. February isn't just about one supersized football game. On Spotify, there's thousands of free sports podcasts that agonize over the preseasons, off-season, and plain old regular seasons of nearly every sport imaginable. Basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, curling, and even hurling. Yes, that's a real sport. Now it's so easy to stay updated with the latest rumors, predictions, and scorching hot takes from some of your favorite game's biggest names. So take it one episode at a time and give 110% of your attention to the thousands of free sports podcasts on Spotify, because the best offense is a good podcast. Whitlock and Wiley, Coutinho Mobley is back with us. Let's move to the Lakers, whose struggles continued over the weekend with a 13-point loss to the Pelicans, who were playing without Anthony Davis. Less than a week ago, LeBron said his playoff intensity had been activated. But the Lakers are now 1 game under 500 and 3 games behind the Clippers for the 8th seed. After the game, LeBron said everyone's accustomed to the losses, but, quote, I'm not accustomed to it. I'd never get comfortable with losing. But that wasn't all he had to say about his teammates.
It's how you approach the game every day. It's how you think the game every day. It's how you play the game. It's how you prepare for the game. And that's not even like when you get to the arena. That's like way before that. You know, like, is basketball, is that the most important thing while we're doing this? So you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I'm not saying that's what we are as a whole. Kind of looks that way at times, that, you know, sometimes we feel like we're afraid to be uncomfortable, kind of get out of our comfort zone, you know, kind of, you know, have that sense of urgency.
So the issue I think LeBron is suffering with, sometimes when you're on top of the mountain, there are no mirrors up there. It's just you all by yourself, and you look down on everybody else. and again, I think it's a struggle that everybody that's had success almost at any level does, to look in the mirror and to judge themselves. LeBron's the leader of the team. He's talking about being all in with basketball, his basketball everything. And I don't think he's able to see that he set the tone for that. He's doing every damn talk show he can think to do. He's developing movies. He's trying to do everything. He's not all in on basketball. The rest of the players sense it, and they're following his lead.
Yeah, you got to hit LeBron with the Mr. Miyagi. No such thing as a bad teacher. No such thing as a bad student. That's what he said. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's bad teachers, man. This is Kobe Bryant 2.0. We've been here before, bro. I've been here. I remember Kobe doing it.
Yes.
Black Swan, White Swan. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he was calling out Pau Gasol and calling out everybody saying,
How about 2006?
man, these dudes are like, it's something about the Lakers. And I'm pointing out the Lakers because it's the biggest brand in basketball. It's it's Hollywood. There's something about being the man on that team in this era with this pressure and their underachievements where they cannot take that as a collective effort. Kobe could not. He had to displace himself from his teammates, even in championship efforts. Pau Gasol got punched in the chest by Phil Jackson. It got to that place where everybody was saying I versus you. And now you're seeing LeBron just replicate that model. And it's sad to see that LeBron doesn't want to be the big dog, which means you take the hits for all of us young pups as we're starting to evolve and learn the game like you did. Kind of sad to see again.
Well, you make a great point, Marcellus. I've been through this, right? We all been through this where the guys are young. And when LeBron first came in, the first month he's filling himself out to see who's going to take that next torch, whether it's Ingram, Ball, whoever it is. And the ball was getting jerked around a little bit as far as starting, not starting, this, that, whatever. LeBron's not used to carrying younger talent. This is, that younger talent where the patience is very short. And you said, when you come to the Lakers, when I come to the Lakers, there's an expectation. Whether it's when Kobe first came in, right? Shaq and Kobe and now LeBron, there's an expectation that you have to live up to. So that's an unconscious pressure that's already on you because you're the one that everybody's going to blast when things go wrong. And you're the one that everybody's going to lift up when things go well. That's just how it's got to work. Now, when I went with the Clippers in 05-06, before that, their records, let me just go 4 years back, 27-55, 28-54, 37-45, and then when I got there, 47-35, and we go to the Western Conference semifinals, okay? You still had the same guys, but they didn't know how to win. No disrespect to Elton Brand, Corey Maggette, nothing. But the point is, Corey was getting 20 a game, Elton was getting 20 a game, but they just found a way to lose. And that's what LeBron is saying. When you're finding ways to lose, even if I'm not here, I'm impatient. Yes, I'm doing movies and books and this and that all right now. I wasn't doing that early on in my years. That's not what I was doing early in my years. I was creating my legacy early on. My legacy still now, but I'm a little frustrated because when I'm watching you guys, whether you're in restaurants, on the road, how you act on the plane, practice, whatever it is, I'm a little irritated of you because you're not taking it in. This basketball is your life.
Should he not point the finger at himself at any point? Does he not deserve some of the blame for that?
No, you're right. I'm not saying he don't deserve blame, but what I'm saying is when you already, Jason, it's like you mentoring me. You're going to get impatient with me sometimes. I just switched my earpiece from here to here, and I was laughing at myself because I looked at yours. Sometimes before you get really good at something.
I'll say this, and anybody here that works with me can say this. I've told from day one, 3 years ago, I said, if anything ever goes wrong, it's my fault. It's not your fault, his fault, anybody, it's my fault. That's my philosophy. And again.
Doesn't mean you not get frustrated, right? You will get some frustration.
Yeah, but
you're live. Jason, you're really good at what you do. You're live. Now, if anything happens behind scenes that will disrupt your character, disrupt your personality that people see after a while.
I'm going to start from a place of it's my fault. What did I do that caused them to make that mistake? It may turn out to be nothing, but my starting point is with me. And when you're LeBron James.
He's not the only one, Kobe Bryant too.
And you come here, to me, the starting point, he came here and he knew this year wasn't about championships. He knew it.
Okay.
And he hasn't handled it well, and he's doing a lot of finger pointing because he's too concerned with narrative. He's too concerned with narrative and making sure he's always managing his legacy and reputation.
Can I ask you the question, being an athlete? When you were younger, you can do anything, okay?
Physically.
You basically never got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
The older you got, you get hurt. Now, your brain says something different than your body. So now when I'm getting hurt, these little knickknacks or whatever it is, now I'm frustrated, not with everyone else, I'm frustrated with myself because subconsciously, Father Time is starting to kick in. Not saying LeBron is on a downcline, but he is impatient because the way you can turn it on 5 years ago, you can't do now.
Man. Well, the way I heard
he was in fourth place before he got hurt. That's all I'm saying.
The way I heard it is Howie Long said it best. I think Howie Long said it best. When you Here's the real of it.
Stop it.
When you first get in the league, your elevator physically is at the top of the building. And mentally, And knowing the game is at the bottom. He said, your prime is when they both meet, because if this one's coming down, this one's coming up. Where they meet. LeBron's obviously is not in the same position right now. Here's what I witnessed from LeBron and what's going on with the Lakers. When we're watching you, guess what? We're also learning from you. And we're learning good behavior, bad behavior. This is what parents miss out on a lot of times. What did I tell you? Is what did you show me?
Yeah.
Hey, when we sitting there in the back of the bus, man, we trying to get a little extra work, whatever it may be, or we sitting there in practice and you got another $1 billion deal on the line, but we talking about this. Okay, that's fine, LeBron. That's cool because we know you're going to show up Mr. Triple-Double.
Right.
However, we watching film with you, brother.
You're so right.
Is that effort the best player in the game effort?
Right.
And you can point it out, but we don't need to point it out. We all see it.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right, and then the collective confidence starts to erode. And next thing you know, it's like, well, if you ain't setting the tone, then what tone is there to live by and to set? So I think it's really been eaten up from inside.
And this is where I'm sympathetic to LeBron because we in the media have the LeBron Olympics going on every day, every single day. And whether he wants to participate in the LeBron Olympics or not doesn't matter. He just the LeBron Olympics are on, and everybody's talking about my legacy and where I rate to Jordan. And so he got caught up in the LeBron Olympics and is hyper-focused on controlling media narratives. Everything that LeBron does now publicly is 1,000% calculated. And again, he's looking at this lost season. He don't want the blame for it.
Yeah.
Because it's a little knock against his Jordan legacy deal. And again, he didn't sign up for that. We created the LeBron Olympics and we've dragged him into it. I'm saying he needs some friends, just like Bob Kraft. A lot of these guys,
Everybody need friends.
They do. Bob Kraft with 6 titles, LeBron James with all this success, all this money, everything. You gotta have people in your camp that be like, hey man, let's look at things a different way. Let all this finger pointing and bad mouth, because that's creating a narrative as well. And I think there are going to be guys around the league. LeBron needs to be careful. Guys around the league, and Kevin Durant was the first one to step out here. The environment around LeBron is toxic. Not a direct shot at LeBron. It's a statement of fact that the LeBron Olympics are toxic. Toxic for LeBron and everyone caught up in it, and it becomes a blame game. And it's not a celebration of let's do it together. It's like, who's going to get blamed? Because only one guy's going to get credit if we win. Everybody else gets the blame. Somebody needs to pull LeBron's coat.
Okay, all right.
You got nothing?
Those young guys.
Bill into this?
No, but no. LeBron James. Listen, they're young, and being young is very frustrating. And LeBron James is like kind of, I guess, waking up out of the fantasy land of saying, "Wow, you know what? I can't just, do this. I got to do way more."
Man, he said he was activated. Activate then, damn it. I don't know.
Here you go. Time to get antisocial.
Yeah, baby.
Y'all know this is my favorite segment. Tino Mobley back with us, joining us, Marcellus. All right, our social media manager, Darnell Smith, is here.
What's up, Nell?
Tell us what's popping on them Twitter streets.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You looking good today, Catino.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I like
drip.
that chain out.
You know what
I don't know what I think about that chain.
Wakanda forever.
I was gonna get you one.
You what? Oh, well, I love it.
Never mind.
Where you get it from? Zamunda?
Big Mill give you that.
He did.
All right, y'all. Let's get it going with the Oscars from last night. The movie Green Book took home the award for Best Picture. Of course, this sent Twitter on a rampage with people arguing about whether or not the movie deserved to win the award. Most people thought it was ridiculous and slammed the Academy and the movie. Director Spike Lee was so upset that the movie won, he even got up and tried to leave the theater. I haven't seen the movie yet, but Whitlock, I know you recently watched it. Did you think it deserved Best Picture?
I watched the movie last night after the Oscars, after it won. And because I wanted to see what the fuss was about. I saw everybody going off. And I think most of the critics missed the mark. I don't think it was a good movie. I went and read what the guy's family, Dr. Shirley, the pianist, what his family had to say about the movie and the way it was portrayed. And so, but I'm not surprised that it won because I felt like it hit the very liberal message of, and this is what Hollywood loves. Here's a black guy with identity issues, and there's a white person there to teach him how to be black. And so that rings real true in Hollywood, and so I'm not surprised it got the highest award in Hollywood.
Man, I don't watch the Oscars because it ain't that damn serious. It ain't that damn deep for every movie. Like, it's amazing, like, when you do a movie that's a depiction of someone's life, like the Tupac movie, whatever movie you want to pick. Oh, they didn't nail it. They didn't say it the right way. You know what? It's 2 hours of somebody who lived for many a years, and it's very complex. And I liked the movie. It was one of my favorite movies last year. However, I didn't think it was going to win Best Picture, in part because I didn't see the whole catalog of choices. That... Boys in the Hood didn't win the Oscar one year. Oh, y'all still believing in the Oscars? Y'all just lost.
I don't, but I'll say this, Marcel. I think if you watch the movie and just watch the movie, I do think it's a fine
It was
movie.
good. Really good.
But if you go and find out, like, well, hold on, man, they done portrayed this guy in a way that's offensive to his family and offensive to the truth, that's what made me disconnect from the movie.
Well, listen, I didn't read what the family said. I took a different perspective about it. One of my best friends, John Gruntfast, he was telling me about like the NHL. And in the NHL, there's like the Hart Trophy, and then there's the Ted Lindsay Award, right? So there's the most valuable player, and then there's most outstanding. Now, me being African-American, as us three are, us four are, you want to see Black Panther. So besides Black Panther, besides Green Book, the favorite, there was 2 other movies. I like those 2. So during the time that it is now, let's just say in America, Green Book showed me something totally different. Tony Lip, who was the Italian in there, he wasn't trying to tell him to be black. He was just saying, embrace your culture as well. Because Tony Lip, if you watch the movie, is rolling dice with the black guys.
We gotta go. We gotta move to the next topic. But if you talk to the family, Tony Lip didn't teach him that or didn't try to show him that. The guy didn't need it.
Yeah,
That's
different
most
stories. Different stories.
Next.
Yeah, moving on to my man Ochocinco, who's always spreading the love over social media, but on Friday he took it to a new level. One of Chad's Twitter followers said he was facing eviction, and after showing them the proof, Ocho sent him $1,500 via PayPal to take care of the bill. The fan responded with a screen grab of the payment, tweeting, "God is our refuge and strength. I owe this man my life." Now, man, look, some people don't loan you $5, so I thought this was pretty dope. But were you guys impressed by this?
Who made it public? The other guy or Chad?
The other guy. The full
I don't have a
discussion was on
problem
Twitter.
with it. I like it.
I like it. I like it. Give it as anonymous to anonymous.
I got a problem with it. One, whatever decisions and whatever consequences, circumstances guys living in, put them in this bad position, which I am happy that Chad helped them. But what the guy obviously needs more is not to be in this position again, whatever those circumstances are. So this is kind of a Band-Aid of a situation, and it's good. But, you know, if I'm ever facing eviction or ever the times I wasn't out there. I wasn't, you know, I didn't have social media. I didn't do anything of that nature, something entertainment-based or just I'm on that grind to go get this.
Right.
And so there's something that's deeper that we're not going to hit with this story.
Why did you post it?
Why'd you post it?
Why'd you post it?
And his fix is for how long? Is he got to come back next month?
Right.
So that's where I'm kind of, I don't want to.
And it's $1,500.
$1,500, and we right there.
What kind of rent is that?
Now, hold on, man. Everybody ain't living in L.A.
Wait,
No, I'm not talking about that, but how long is that?
In Mobile.
That's a month. About a month.
That's a month.
All right. Darnell, what's
That was
next?
Darnell in.
Right. Let's get to some NBA. On Saturday, the Bucks beat the Timberwolves, but the bigger story was Ja Rule's halftime performance. The rapper took some heat over Twitter after facing some sound issues at the start of the show. Giannis obviously wasn't a fan because he was busy putting up shots in the middle of the performance. Even the Timberwolves Twitter page took a shot at Ja with the tweet mocking him from the Fire documentary. But Ja Rule clapped back saying, "You just jinxed yourself talking to the God this way. You're cursed now. You won't win the championship for the next 30 years. Should the Timberwolves be worried about a curse from Ja Rule?
No, Ja Rule needs to be worried about that Fire Festival documentaries on Netflix and Hulu.
How about that?
And to put a curse on his career for the
about
next
that?
30 years.
No, 50
is
Cent
true.
Ben did that. Y'all trying to act like this brand new his
50
issue.
and Ja been fighting forever.
Yeah, man, shout out to Ja Rule.
Johnson 04.
Ja Rule just had a concert at the Novo, and it was cracking, people said. So
Ja's my guy.
I like Ja Rule. I don't know why all the hate.
I'm sorry that happened.
It
I'm
is.
sorry that
Did you
happened.
see Fire Festival?
I did, and he wasn't the leader of that. He was partners with him, but he was a minor, silent partner. It seemed
Yeah,
like.
Billy
He was just a
McFarlane.
face.
Oh,
It was a
no.
kid, Billy McFarlane.
Yeah, come on, man. Let's go.
That's who it was, Billy
It's on
McFarlane.
Billy.
Billy McFarlane is the real G in this. He took the hit for everybody.
We should have.
Oh, that's the G.
He-
The one in
yeah,
jail?
should've.
The one that had
Yeah,
to go to
he
jail?
took the hit for
Ain't nobody
everybody.
down with him.
But Jason, he should have.
Yeah, he's the one that.
Kendall Jenner, Bella, Hayden,
all the models.
all of them, they endorsed it as well.
Not like Ja. Ja was right in the middle of it.
Because he
better
thought he was
thank
going to get
God.
paid.
He couldn't get a payday.
All right, Darnell, what's next?
Yeah, so today on The Herd, A-Rod was talking about his support of superstar players getting paid big money. Take a listen.
People scream and shout when a player signs for $300 million, but when the Dodgers trade for north of $2 billion or the Marlins trade for north of $1 billion, nobody says anything. It's like big, bad America supposed to make all the economics. But in a world, it should be more democratic. And if the industry's gone from $1 billion to $10 billion, it's good for it to be spread around and for players to get paid in a big way, and it's guaranteed.
Does he have a point here?
Yeah, he's got a point that certainly the players should benefit in the growth of Major League Baseball and all professional sports. But do they got to get these $300 million contracts? I don't know.
They should. It's always this dissension between ownership and labor. And many facets of the interactions, and when a team sells, wow, good for them. When a player gets cashed in for a certain amount, what? And we always have that. I think in part, the general public feels more connected to the labor because that's their life. And so they look at the players like, how dare you get what I deserve or I should be a part of. But ownership just seems distant from that and distant from a lot of the issues and the damning that should come.
I'm going to keep it short. If the owners and the team makes a lot of money and they're growing, then whoever's helping that should get paid money as well.
Right.
Get a raise as well.
There it is.
I just don't like the 10-year contracts.
Right.
Yeah, they never
That's long.
Anyway, all right, Darnell, question of the day. What's up?
Look at that cell phone, y'all.
It's Darnell. My question of the day. My question of the day. 285 pounds.
All right, y'all. So Martellus Bennett actually went on like a mini rant this weekend on coaches playing the role of a father, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on coaches acting as father figures?
I'm going to let the professional athletes go first.
Man, look, this is tough for me. My father was there, and I would put him up as Father of the Year every single year. Always there in support, never there pushing me. My coaches had a defined role, which was obviously to have great influence, sometimes being that third parent, but never stepping on the toes of my father. And I don't need a father figure when I grew up with one. And I will also look for role models within my family unit before I would look for a guy who's maybe volunteering his time or getting paid just to teach me a craft.
Well, for me, I was blessed with a stepfather and a father, and both were in my life. And, it's like me taking my daughter or my son to school. That teacher has my child the majority of the time during that day. I drop him off at 8, I get her at 2:30, right? So she has the majority of the time. So that, whether it's a male or a female, that is that role model, that mother, that father of them. Because you want to have a rapport with that coach or that teacher. So, I don't know about Bennett, but Jim Herrick was like a father figure to me. It's okay to have more than one.
Yeah, I'm right there with these guys. I had a great father, and so didn't need the coaches to be my father figures. But I had some coaches I was very close to, my high school head coach, Jerry Stauffer, and we had, Coach Willen.
Right.
Coach Willen coached me and Darnell,
Yep.
and he was a father figure to a lot of players that didn't have fathers. I can think Coach Willen's in the hospital right now. I hope you're feeling better. But he was a father figure. We had a guy, co-captain on our team, Chris Hurt, that had nobody.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Coach Willen taking him back and forth to school and doing a lot of other things, he would have had nothing. So I don't know where Martellus is coming from.
Yeah, it always seems like in absence of something or someone will raise your kids.
Right, exactly.
A lot of times we know it's the streets, we know it's the community.
Right.
And luckily for some guys, it's a father figure in athletics, but I didn't have that absence, so I'm not exactly understanding where this comes from.
Yeah, I think it's all case by case, right? Like, as a coach, you have to find out what does your player need? And in some cases, you got certain players, like you said, don't have a father figure at home. Right. So if you know that as a coach, I think you should step into that role, give them that discipline, and kind of give them that father figure that they need. There's some other players that maybe they're getting that discipline at home, they're getting certain things at home, and you coach them differently. So I just think it's case by case, but I don't have a problem.
Former NBA veteran and Big Three champion Cuttino Mobley is back. Let's talk Duke star Zion Williamson, who grabbed headlines last week after injuring his knee in a high-profile game against rival North Carolina. the NBA has proposed abolishing the one-and-done rule by lowering the draft age from 19 to 18, thus allowing talent like Zion to skip college and go directly to the NBA out of high school. Any rule change would need to be collectively bargained with the Players Association. But Mavs owner Mark Cuban is raising a red flag, saying, quote, the really bad unintended consequence is you're going to see AAU programs and parents push harder to get kids featured, maybe at the expense of their education, maybe at the expense of really learning how to play basketball. There's going to be a lot of people pimping none and done, and you're going to see a lot of kids fall hard and be ineligible, all kinds of issues. I think Mark Cuban raises a legitimate concern, and I think there'll be other ramifications from this. Again, I'm crystal clear on this, and I don't think the one and done or the none and done is the right thing. I wish they would figure out a way to pay college players real money to stay in college. I think there will be ramifications from this.
Stopping short of finding a real program that provides value for those who are staying in college for that experience, that education, I will say it should be none and done. Until you can find that system, because I think that would be optimal. The reality is one and done does nothing but stop a guy who's potentially prepared for a professional experience and not allowing him to have that. So I say none and done. I want you to have a high school diploma just because I want a minimum standard in terms of citizenship and standards met in terms of education before you enter the NBA. But there have been countless guys who went none and done and been great for the game and great off the court as well. So until they can figure out something that's going to really allow these guys to grow in their collegiate experience on, off the court, and monetize it, none and done. If you're ready, go pro.
The funny thing is I understand both points. And being a basketball player, not fortunate enough to leave high school, right, to go straight to the pros. You understand what Mark Cuban is saying because I'm not a fan of AAU. I don't think they teach you how to play basketball, right? I think it is more of a pimping kind of thing for a lot of the kids. And kids that are from California, you might get a kid that's amazing from Vegas and they ship to California to play on the AAU team, and then another kid from Georgia, and they all play together. And I just don't I don't think that's fair. Like when I was younger, your talent was in your city, right? And that's what you played with. Now, as far as if you're eligible and you're good enough to play in the NBA, I think you should go through some type of course, and that course is at least a 6-month to a year course. So if I know if I'm going to my senior year and I'm number one, I think from financial classes to real estate classes to things like that that's going to preserve your wealth the older you get. I think those things you should be able to, they should be teaching you.
The NBA PA, they teach that stuff. It's where the guys pay attention.
Well, no, that's when you have the money already, right? That's orientation when you're already there.
Yeah.
We're talking about in high school. I think there's things in high school that just for everybody, but especially athletes, they should be learning those little things like that because that can preserve your wealth when you get to that point. Now, being paid in college is great too.
But you need the experience to map on to so you can really internalize that. Because like he said, we had that as well in the NFL, and you go through all those courses of education without experience, and you don't know where it lands. Because one, I want to go through this process and do it my way, and it may not be necessarily the way that the former player did it, and it may not be a way that gets me in harm's way. But it's still, the education just kind of gets drowned out because I have nothing to map it onto.
Right,
so
right.
it has to be a continual process.
Look, I was told this as a possible angle on all this in terms of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, I think is 2021. This wouldn't go into effect until 2022. Guess who has a son who will be 18 in 2022 and eligible to go straight from high school to the pros?
LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron.
And that perhaps is a little bit of the driving force of the removal of LeBron wants to play in the NBA with his son, and one of the quickest way to do it so he doesn't have to spend a year in college would be able to get rid of this rule and then LeBron can be just like LeVar Ball, and he can play with his son.
Well, I don't mind how it gets done if it gets done and it's the right thing. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, oh, LeBron once again flexing his power, but nothing moves without someone powerful and something powerful behind it. So, yeah, if that's the agenda, it saves a lot of other kids from.
But my issue is, like, if that's part of the push, let's say it's only 2% of the push, whatever percent, is it a push for the right reasons? Again, does anybody at any point ever say, are we doing what's best for the game of basketball? And again, I think a lot of the conversation about the NBA is dishonest. I really do. I don't think the product on the court is as good as it could be if these guys spent some time in a real apprenticeship.
It's because they don't know how to play. You're right.
Yeah,
they're
not getting taught how to play.
They don't have a high IQ, and that's what it is. But if you're going to put those kids out there, it's like it's a trade mechanism app called Think and Swim. And you go to Think and Swim first to learn how to trade with fake money until you go to the E-Trade or the Ameritrade. You do that first. So I think you have to set yourself up, especially because you're going to have a certain amount of money, whether it's the G League, whether it's across the season, whether it's the NBA. You're still going to have some money, and if you're good enough, it'll be the NBA. But I think you need to set yourself up in those type of situations first.
Well, I mean, look, Kobe was great for the game. LeBron's great for the game.
Kevin
KG
Garnett.
Talking about the
and then there's
aberration.
there's flips. There's a flip side to that coin. I respect that. Robert Swift. Oh, what happened there?
Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown. Like, there's flips to the coin, but you got to get a guy the opportunity.
But again, I'm talking about just we can talk about Kobe, LeBron, and KG, the best of the best.
Right.
But I'm talking about, what about the mid-level players that do have 10-year careers in the NBA that don't know how to play this game, don't know how to prepare, don't know how to compete? Again, that's a lot of the things you learn in the college experience. What blew my mind going from high school to college was like, I thought I used to work hard. And then I got to college, I was like, holy cow, I was doing nothing. When you go from college to the pros, it's like, wow, I thought I prepared myself in college.
Yeah.
But then I get to the pros and it's a whole nother level.
So wouldn't you want to skip that step because it's always evolving? So who cares what your collegiate level of preparation is? It's going to have to change again once you get to the pros. My best experience is going to be at that level. When I trained for football, there was a day I used to run track in the offseason. Then it became football specialized training because the 400 meters is not going to help you on this football field. You got to get right into the grind of it and see how it goes.
I'm Jason Whitlock, he's Marcellus Wiley. Time to put on our thinking caps. Tino Mobley and TJ Houshmandzadeh are back. As you all know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer, Marcellus, here. So we're going to take a deeper look at a big issue in the sports world. Got a special cap for our Columbia grad, Darnell.
Darnell. Appreciate you, man. Nice team.
All right.
See you, son.
Nice.
We're going to move to Oxford, Mississippi, where two pro-Confederacy groups organized a march onto the Ole Miss campus on Saturday. In response to the march, 8 Rebel basketball players took a knee during the anthem before their matchup with Georgia. One of the Rebel players described the action as a way to support their teammate, adding, quote, "We saw one of our teammates doing it, and we just didn't want him to be alone." Head coach Kermit Davis said, "I think our players made an emotional decision to show these people they're not welcome on our campus." All right, you guys, I'm pretty well established how I feel about kneeling during the national anthem. I don't think it's productive. I can't criticize these young people, though, at all because they're following the lead of adults. And we as adults, and particularly those of us in the media, we've sent out a signal to everybody that if you see anything racial that you don't like, the appropriate response is to take a knee during the national anthem. And I don't think it's productive, but I don't blame the young people. And when I hear the young people say that they were actually fall in line like dominoes supporting a teammate, I think that's very courageous and the smart thing to do. Don't leave your teammate out there on an island. Don't let him take on that burden all by himself, fall in behind. So I don't blame the young people. I blame us as adults that we haven't explained to young people more appropriately what should the response be to ignorance.
I respect these players kneeling. I don't necessarily support the statements by their coach, Coach Davis, and I think he was being genuine, but I think he was also being absent of the fact that on this same campus, as they call it, the march began at the Confederate Monument on the city square and ended at another Confederate monument in the heart of the Ole Miss campus. So it sounds disingenuous when you talk about we're trying to really deal with the tensions on campus, but these hate groups keep piercing our borders, when in reality you have symbols that makes this the hate headquarters on campus, actual monuments that actually symbolize what these people are talking about. So how do you hate the individuals when you don't hate what they stand for, which is right there something that is still standing in of support for that same group? So it could get hypocritical. It could get a lot of contradiction in this. But, hey, Ole Miss, as a campus, if you really want to respect all, why do you still have the monuments there? Maybe a different conversation, but certainly let's not get distracted by the outrage and the backlash when in reality the Confederate allies felt that they had symbols of support on campus.
I don't want to disagree passionately or whatever, but let's just remember, when you took that scholarship, those monuments were there.
Respect.
There's Ole Miss, the rebel flag, there's no secrets there. But
I'm a little sensitive to that, right? I don't really agree with how the coach's response. I agree with Marcellus. It's just very mind-boggling to me in 2019 that you can still do things like this, right? And if you're going to say, give me an answer, well, there's Jason, you said, well, if you don't act like this peacefully, how do you want us to act when this is being slapped in my face?
My answer would be, this is my response.
Right.
I'm going to shine brighter. I'm going to have more and more success. I'm going to irritate the people that think less of me by doing far more than them. That's the response.
That's been going on since Martin Luther King. Before that.
And are they mutually exclusive?
Again,
can you do both?
You can, but I just don't. If I'm the hate group, the KKK, white nationalists, I've gotten the response that I wanted. I wanted to provoke a reaction from you. And as long as you allow idiots to control your actions, you're not going to move ahead.
But it's more
peaceful.
Peaceful.
I get it, but it's a response that took a little local story that no one knew about and made it national. I guarantee you, they're celebrating. This is the response they wanted, in my opinion.
So last week we talked about Colin Kaepernick and what change will he exact. And this is part of it. Had he not done what he did, we wouldn't have guys doing this. We wouldn't have players in schools.
They wouldn't even know.
People kneeling. And to me, it's courageous to do this because in our culture, you do this, now it's going to turn physical. So for them just to take a knee and say, we're going to counteract your protest peacefully by kneeling, they knew exactly what they were doing. But it's to the point now where it's what you see. You go to Ole Miss, if they have that type of monument on campus, you know what you're getting yourself into. It's not a secret, so to speak. It's 2019. For you to be able to even hold a rally, once you knew that rally was going to take place, they should have said, no, you're not coming on here. No, we're not allowing this.
Some kids are absent-minded as well, right? So you ride on that bus, or you see these certain things. They may not understand the dynamics of it. But some of the one who kneeled first, he understands the dynamics.
But Coutinho, I guess my point is just there's no place on planet Earth where these types of idiots don't exist. No place. And so the whole thing of like, we're going to spray enough raid that we're going to kill all the roaches. If you've ever lived in a roach-filled environment, it doesn't work that way.
Show don't.
Hell no.
Show don't.
Combat, none of that. You remember combat the blue stick?
It doesn't work that way.
Nothing.
And so all this taking a knee and spraying raid isn't going to cure the problem of roaches. And so roaches are going to be here. And ever since Adam and Eve, sin and stupidity have been a part of this planet. And again, that doesn't mean you accept it and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just taking a knee because, and I'm playing devil's advocate, just trying to get y'all to understand. We sit here and go, oh, those Confederate monuments are so offensive. And the people that believe, and
truthfully, it doesn't even bother me. You can call me whatever you want. As long as you put your hands on me, I'm okay.
Right, there you go, truthfully. And then but they say, well, hold on, this Confederate, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't represent what you say. And that falls on deaf ears to us. And we kind of laugh, what do you mean? And then we turn around and say, when they say, well, when you take a knee, it's offensive to me. Right. And we say, well, hold on, it doesn't mean that. We mean something totally else. And so, again, what I see are two of the same people having an argument. And I'm trying to say, look, don't be like them. Back away. Shine. Your best response to bigots is to shine. Trust me, the bigots watching this show are irritated because we up here shining.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting about this, to reconcile this conversation? It's always with the phrasing, to what avail? Like, to what greater good, greater gain? And I'm going to be honest. In my personal life, if you ever come at me with anything personal, overt, and racist, it does not get to me.
Right.
However, when you come at us, it seems like now I'm a little more agitated. And that's because I think I have a thicker skin, a greater experience than maybe the times where I was voiceless and powerless. And I can now take some of those hits for those who can't respond the same. And I think these players, especially at a young age, you're a teenager, you're in college, they're caught up in that conflict. You come at me at 44, stop it. It's laughable. But then you come at these kids and you come at all of them.
Excellent point.
That's where I think the rub is. It's not about the individuals.
You make an excellent point, and this is where I agree. I think what the kids are doing actually is relatively appropriate. When I was young and didn't know better,
violent and you
I wouldn't say get violent, but you have an emotional response.
Right.
Again, I've told a story on this show about me and my boy standing out in the middle of the street. We finna get it on with some white dudes that done dropped the N-word on him.
Right.
He's holding a Uzi. I didn't know it. I looked over like, damn. I just thought we was finna throw hands.
Level 10. Level 10.
So, again,
let me rethink
so
this.
I get as a kid, as a young person doing this, and again, I'm saying as adults, we've given this example. That, oh my God, if someone does something that irritates you, make sure you respond emotionally. Take a knee.
Right.
I just don't think it's as effective as we think. Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval rating for LeBron James. What? What? Who are you? What are you wearing? What is this?
Fava beans? Fava beans?
With the Chianti, with the Chianti.
The who?
With the Chianti, with the Chianti.
Look at his hand.
You know what that is, Marcellus?
I know he ashy. I don't know what else is going on. Look at him.
They won't let me get no lotion. The hell you want me to do?
No, I think smarter people we don't want to hear from you today. I asked them to put a mask on you, and they did that. And it's the right look for you.
Every show.
This is your best costume yet.
This is your best costume yet.
Yeah, I don't know if he's tied up. Are you
Best
tied up?
costume yet.
I don't know if that belt is fastened correctly. We need to get this right.
You have any thought? I figured you'd come out here in your LeBron James outfit. Since, you have no thoughts on LeBron James?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you, Beef and Porky. I'm going to tell you both. Everybody got jokes right now. Come on, man. I can't say what I want to say. Y'all can't say what y'all going to say. Come on.
You know what, Darnell? Can we get Darnell out here?
A real talent.
Yeah, take this in.
Real talent. Belly out.
I'm going to whammy you, ass. I'm going to whammy you. Help me, Saul.
That mask ain't helping. Lock it.
I don't know if I could have picked Uncle Jimmy up. Darnell's in better shape than us.
Oh, by far,
Yeah.
He did
All
that.
right. We have an approval rating here for LeBron James. And LeBron, finger pointing LeBron James, that's what he's doing out here in Hollywood. He's got a triple-double in finger pointing. I'm going to basically keep him the same. 17 job performance, 23 all-time greatest, 15 character. I'm going to drop him a point in authenticity. All this finger pointing, inauthentic to me.
I had to drop
71.
LeBron as well, man. He's an all-star for me still. And I love LeBron. I'm an apologist, but I've seen this script before. I've seen this movie produced before. Don't do what Kobe did. And even though Kobe's great and you're great, still, man, embrace those young dudes and bring them along instead of what you're doing right now.